Hello friends, welcome to Intronaut channel. This is the place here on YouTube where we do weekly tarot reading. And today you are all welcome to join me on the reading for this week. And since the card that opened as an energy support for this week is the card called the Moon. So I thought it is important to share this information with you, because this card is pointing to difficulties, or maybe we should call them challenging events that will take place this week. So let's see. This is in divination, this is the card that points to hidden enemies. And when we look at the situation in general, it is pointing that the war on humanity and human values will still continue. But this week it will change. It will change, the strategy. That means that the enemy could change the behavior. The enemy could maybe change, the way they speak, the topics they speak about. So all of these things, and of course, we have to recognize that this is coming as a distraction, to take away our attention from the real issues, that need to be dealt with, you know. So this card can point that behind our backs, the war will continue and even get stronger if, of course, our attention is somewhere else, or maybe, someplace else. And usually that means when our mind is occupied, with the egoic interests, or maybe let's call them comfort zone, you know. So, this seems important because this card points to fanaticism, and all the fakeness that goes with that, fake security, fake appearance, fake images, fake identity, and the most important point, that this card is making this week is about the way being totally wrong. It's about the wrong way, So it is important, to know that this is the support that will happen this week. And, we have to understand that the support means that something is going on for us, for in our favor, instead of, believing it's against us, So this is happening for us to more easily learn about who we are and who we are not. So, are we fake or are we real? Maybe, like, do we need fake stuff to feel real, to feel secure? Do we need, fake relationships to make us happy? All these things, can 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 arise this week, So what that points is that we will have this great opportunity, to recognize the fakeness that may exist around us or inside us, And behind that fakeness, the enemy is hiding, you know. And it seems as the enemy this week is hiding behind the obvious, you know. So it could happen that intentionally the minds of people can be occupied with promises, or let's say, you know, with ideas about security, about identity, about control, and all of this. But this card is pointing that all of that promises are just lies. It's all fake, you know, and it actually could be a quite dangerous road to take, you know, if you understand what I'm here talking about. So, since it is important this week, you know, to stay alert and to be very careful about everything that will go on this week on every aspect of our life, you know. And also, it points that a shift in perspective can take place this week, you know, so that we can more easily see that everything that is happening in front of us, you know, just before our eyes, you know, and in order for us to see it and to, very important, learn about it. Because when we learn about it, we separate ourselves from it, and in the modern language, that is called a waking up, you know. So we need to wake up from this nightmare. You know, this is nightmare. What else can this be? Let's see what it brings, you know. It causes sickness. It causes death. It causes fear. It causes loneliness. It causes sadness, you know. So it must be nightmare. What else can it be, you know? Things, you know, it is as it does, you know, if you understand. So waking up from the nightmare is not an easy thing, especially if the whole humanity needs to unite in order, you know, for this waking up to really have you know, influence the planet, you know. So what we need to unite is in our view on how we see humanity and human values to continue on this planet, you know. So this is not about saving the humanity, it's not about, you know, protecting the human race or whatever. It is more about that, you know, humans need to defend this form of life that is particularly known on this planet. So we need to defend this form of life on this planet until the last drop of the blood in the body. So this is our duty as human beings, to protect, you know, this form of life from evil, because I call it evil because it exterminates life. It exterminates the form of life we know here on planet Earth. And this is this form that I'm talking about is called nature. This is nature, you know. So the extermination of nature is something that we can recognize as evil. Okay, so well, this is a very interesting point, you know. And this week, as this card is pointing, that to wake up, you know, to our true nature, you know, uh, this week you know, this card is pointing actually to the teachings through suffering and pain, you know. So the advice here should be that, you know, things are going to get hard. So making them harder, it will not, you know, do any good, you know. So instead, allowing things to be hard for us. They need to be hard for us, you know. So allowing things to be hard for us, but avoiding making them worse, you know, because this can bring a big deal of something, you know, that is called disappointment. So disappointment is in a great relationship with deception. Deception is, you know, something that is created to deceive or, you know, to misguide, you know. So, but anyhow, the deception that seems to be coming from the outside is actually in a very close relationship to the deception that already exists inside of us, you know. So by that I mean, when lacking a sense of security, you know, we open a space for for not self, but false security, you know, to take us over and create even more insecurities, you know. And the same things go with identity. When we don't know who we are, or when we are not even interested in who we create all these different identities, you know, that gives us sense of being. But unfortunately, sense of being cannot be a real identity because it's a sense, you know. So this the next thing that this card is also pointing is the traps. So this week, you know, traps, blackmailing. This card points to also terror, especially terror in the form of false statements, you know, that are produced in order to damage someone else's reputation, you know. So this is pointing that this week, even more than usual, this kind of relations will continue, you know, and we can expect more of that this week. But it's the same key again, you know, this is the call for our attention, you know, to focus on what is important, and to maybe recognize where and how our attention travels and where is it stuck, you know. And also this is the pointer to be very careful about the informations that will come to us this week, and also people, you know, that we should be aware of. So when we look at it, it looks like that the moon this week will have great influence on life on planet Earth, you know. So, and it looks like that in this week's darkness, we can find the answer, you know, that we need to act properly. And everything else that will come as in light, you know, will be kind of taking or pushing our freedom into wrong direction, you know. So this week, you know, the moon can bring that twist that we need, because because of new beginnings, and that can bring new perspectives on stuff, and it can also shift a perception of reality for us, a shift in the way we see things, or a shift in the way we think. So it could be important, to practice and keep our attention under our control. So, generally speaking, this card that is named the Moon, points to a very challenging week, full of errors, deception, and empty promises. And all these can just bring greater disappointment. But, of course, being conscious of it, and if not, there will be this twist, you know, there will be the twist, as I said, with the new moon, and after that twist, we can maybe, see a possibility of another world, or a different world, as possible. And only possible, but actually, right here, just behind the obvious, you know. So, thank you for watching. I think this is it for today. I hope you are taking good care of yourself. I hope to, everything's okay. And, looking forward to see you, looking forward to hear from you. Still, write an email and maybe we catch some chatting. Okay, take care.